Okay, let's be honest, Mets fans. The 2025 season was exhausting. Not just disappointing, not just frustrating, emotionally draining. This was supposed to be the turn, and instead, it was a season that fell apart. From opening day, expectations were sky high. Big payroll, big names, big promises. But from June through September, the wheels came off. Missed opportunities, inconsistent pitching, streaky offense. The Mets' start to the season was strong, but late in the season, they struggled to consistently do the little things it takes to win games. So we saw one bad inning, one bad at bat, game over.
This is a Mets team going all the way back this season to, yes, you heard that correctly, June 13th of playing 15 game below 500 baseball. A team on the road finishing the season 15 games or so below 500. A team that when it came to consistency, winning 2 or 3 games in a row, few and far in between.
It was a roller coaster of emotions for the fan base. One week, we're back. Next week, blow it up. Rinse and repeat. When the season ended with the Mets failing to lock down the final National League wildcard spot and losing out to the Cincinnati Reds, nobody knew exactly what was coming next. Would the Mets reset, reload, rebuild? Instead, we got chaos. First, the trade of homegrown center fielder Brandon Nimmo to Texas for second baseman Marcus Semien.
Certainly, they're losing offense here. Nimmo is one of their better hitters, beloved figure. Take the emotion out of it, though, and it does make sense. On paper, it makes sense what the Mets did.
Even after a stunner of a trade for Mets fans, the hope was once the winter meeting started, they could retain 2 of their stars who were free agents. They added an arm to the bullpen in former Yankee closer Devin Williams. But then, things changed.
It absolutely hurts that Edwin Diaz is no longer a member of the New York Mets. Part of the reason that you invest in baseball and baseball seasons and baseball teams, and more specifically baseball players, is you get to enjoy watching them more than you do any other sport. Football is once a week. Basketball is a couple times a week. Baseball is 6 to 7 times a week for 6 straight months. And we invested in Edwin Diaz's story.
A familiar face and arguably the best closer in the game no longer would be pitching in Flushing as free agent reliever Edwin Diaz went to the Dodgers. And then a homegrown slugger bounced too. For fans of the Amazons, there were questions everywhere, and many were wondering if David Stearns had answers. Well, Stearns had an answer to replace Pete Alonso at first base, and his name was Jorge Polanco, who signed a 2-year, $40 million contract. He's projected to play first base and serve as a designated hitter. He has only 1 inning of major league experience at first base, so going from the all-time franchise leader in home runs, Pete Alonso, to Polanco tested the offseason patience of Mets fans. Then as the calendar turned to 2026, came the offseason shift, starting with the Bichette signing.
This is a high-contact, significant hitter, a guy that has a lot of moxie, a guy that is a beloved clubhouse character, and more than anything else, another leader added to the pack for this Mets locker room.
After losing out to the Dodgers in the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes, the Mets landed former Toronto Blue Jays shortstop Bichette, and now he will play third base in Flushing. Bichette is a high-contact, high-impact bat, coming off one of the most consistent offensive seasons in baseball, including a run to the World Series. In 2025, Bichette hit .311, second only to Aaron Judge among qualified hitters. But the Mets still needed to address their outfield, and they did in a trade to acquire White Sox center fielder Luis Robert Jr. Robert Jr. has struggled at the plate the past 2 seasons while dealing with health issues after a strong 2023 season. But he could be a fantastic fit in Queens.
And suddenly with Bichette and Robert Jr., they have 2 right-hand bats to hit lefty pitching and balance out their lineup more, which I think is important. Even at his worst, Robert Jr. is a above-average center fielder. Again, a very hard thing to find. He'll hit some homers and he'll steal bases at a pretty good rate. So there is an upside to the player, and then there's the real upside. 3 years ago, he was one of the better all-around players in baseball.
Then came the pitching move. Trading for Freddy Peralta. Peralta, who pitched with the Brewers, is an arm with upside, risk, and intrigue.
The Mets absolutely needed to get a number one pitcher. The prices were very, very high in all these trades. I mean, all of them. Shane Baz, all of them. And this guy is the best guy who's been traded. I mean, obviously, he's not Skubal. Nobody is, but he is a number one pitcher.
But this is something that, bare minimum, the Mets had to do this offseason. There is no denying that this is something that needed to get done in the case of bringing in a frontline starter to add to this Mets rotation. That's why this trade is so significant, and that's why when you actually look at the optimism level with the Mets heading into next season, you have to be feeling pretty good.
This offseason was a roller coaster. Every move started a war and a wave of emotions among Mets fans. There were moves people absolutely hated, and others that had fans anxiously awaiting the first pitch of the 2026 season.
You can have those feelings or what have you, but when I see everything that's come in and how I can picture this lineup working and the overall construction of a 1 through 9, what the starting rotation can be, what the bullpen might be, like, I'm excited.
For a lot of Mets fans, this offseason was about trust. Trust lost or trust regained with this franchise. Fans wondering, do you have to believe, or are we falling again? Now, as we are in 2026 and spring training is right around the corner for this team, well, it looks very different with several core players no longer on the roster. But it's a chance for a new era of Mets baseball with new faces ready to leave their mark in Flushing and hopefully lead the Amazins back to postseason play.
It was very obvious that I wanted to be a Met. Mr. Cohen and David have put together an organization that is looking to win every single year, has an opportunity to win a World Series every single year, and a roster that backs that up. And it's very exciting to be a part of the city, one of the best cities in the world, maybe the best city in the world. Fans, some of the best fans in the world, and all of that is something I've always wanted to be a part of. So excited to be here and excited to be a Met.
Excitement is undoubtedly in the air surrounding the 2026 Mets, but that doesn't mean the work is done. There still are question marks. This season lives on ifs. If the rotation holds, if the bullpen holds, if players can adapt to playing new positions. But the late offseason additions to the Metropolitans may have people looking at them differently in 2026.
Yeah, the Mets on like BetMGM are tied with the Phillies for the second most over-under projections at 90.5. The Dodgers are like 102.5 or 103.5. Everyone's behind them. So whatever they've done, especially late, has at least the betting markets seeing them as a very strong team, though, of course, they saw them as a strong team last year.
Okay, so we know the motto of the Mets is you gotta believe. But the million-dollar question right now is, should Mets fans believe that this team can contend for a World Series title in 2026?
I definitely think they're a contender because they're going to begin the season with two assets beyond whatever assets they have on the field. They're still going to have a strong prospect base and Steve Cohen's money. So they could fix this as it goes along.
Even with encouraging words from New York Post MLB columnist Joel Sherman, Mets fans are generally practicing cautious optimism, not hype. They have real hope after an offseason of change, but it doesn't guarantee a parade for the first time in 40 years. It doesn't prevent heartbreak, but it does feel like progress. And in Queens, 1986 feels like a lifetime ago. So progress, it matters.